The Jedi Order kept a fair few secrets, as you might expect from such a powerful order. If we were to tell you that many of these secrets were housed in the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, you probably wouldn't bat an eye. That towering ziggurat was big enough to hide a whole lot of things, after all. But even the most hardened Jedi skeptics might end up surprised by some of the things the Council had locked away in there. The Jedi Temple wasn't just hiding vast stores of forbidden knowledge from the outside world. It also hid ancient dungeons, shadowy shrines built by the Sith, and even a whole mountain. In this video, we're going to be spilling the beans on all of these Jedi Temple secrets and more.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
By the time of the Clone Wars, the Jedi Temple on Coruscant had been the headquarters of the Jedi Order for nearly 4,000 years, ever since Ossus, the Order's original homeworld, was destroyed by the Sith. As far as Jedi temples went, it was actually on the younger side. Many lesser Jedi temples were tens of thousands of years old, but Coruscant's temple only dated back to 5000 BBY. Despite this, it quickly swelled into the Order's greatest stronghold after the loss of Ossus. This move marked a bit of a change in attitude for the Jedi. While they had previously been concerned primarily with the Rim, where Ossus had been located, the move to Coruscant signified a new focus on protecting the Republic first and foremost. Over the course of its history, the Jedi Temple experienced several major changes in design. Originally, it started as a collection of small shrines and libraries, but as the temple grew, new towers and outbuildings sprang up around the original complex. Eventually, all of these buildings were hidden under a great big armored sheath, becoming a temple ziggurat, with only 5 spires rising up through this great metal shell. But as Jedi architects expanded the temple, they took care to preserve the older sections, and in doing so, they preserved quite a few dark secrets the Order wished it could forget. Though the Jedi Temple's 5 towers were the most prominent part of the structure, the outer 4 were actually pretty mundane as far as temple structures went. Each of the 4 outer towers housed chambers for the 4 Jedi Councils: the Council of First Knowledge, the Reassignment Council, the Council of Reconciliation, and of course, the High Council. The central tower, the Temple Spire, was more interesting. It was this spire that contained statues of the greatest Jedi, the fabled Hall of Knighthood, and in a climate-controlled room at the very pinnacle of the spire, the oldest known Jedi texts. But most of the interesting stuff was actually contained within the Temple Ziggurat, the massive base of the temple. A whole lot of ancient structures were sealed under that big old armored sheath, ranging from mundane things like older exterior walls to ancient shrines and chapels. The deeper one went into the Temple Ziggurat, the older the structures became, until one reached the ancient secrets that lay at the very heart of the structure. The outer structures of the ziggurat, which were only a few millennia old, included the more well-known temple structures. These included grand halls like the Room of 1,000 Fountains, functional structures like the Medical Center, dormitories and research labs, as well as training facilities, armories, and even starfighter hangars. But even the outer sections displayed hints of a darker past. Remnants of old exterior walls featured plenty of blast scoring from ancient battles, while the dungeons where captured Sith and their abominations were once held were still intact by the time of the Clone Wars. Located near the south wall of the temple, these massive, well-guarded cells were where the Jedi once left Sith and their monsters to rot. They were more or less shuttered after the end of the New Sith Wars, and they were never used during the Republic Golden Age, but many young Jedi still believed the cells to have been haunted by the echoes of long-dead Sith. But haunted dungeons were just the start of what lay within the Jedi Temple. Deeper in, the temple contains what had originally been freestanding buildings, formerly used as libraries or armories. Some parts of these interior sections lay in a state of disrepair, the result of ancient attacks on the temple. The famed temple library and the great Jedi archives were actually newer versions of what had once been some of the temple's most ancient structures, which had been partially destroyed millennia before. Some of these interior buildings were actually made with materials salvaged from Ossus itself. At the heart of the Jedi Temple lay the oldest part of the structure, the sacred spire, a mountain once held sacred by the local Coruscanti. This spike of bare rock rose right up through the heart of the Jedi Temple, having been one of the last parts of Coruscant's surface to be open to the sky before it too was closed off. Ancient Coruscanti shrines still dotted the surface of this mountain, while the original cave chapels founded by the Jedi were also preserved deep beneath its peak. Not all of the shrines on the sacred spire originally belonged to the Jedi. Preserved upon the mountain were shrines made by a variety of other Force-sensitive traditions, which the Jedi had absorbed long ago. The symbols of extinct Coruscanti religions could still be seen on some of the oldest chapels and in the caverns that burrowed deep into the spire. All of these religious traditions had been drawn to the spire for the same reason the Jedi had been. The mountain was a Force nexus, a place where the Force was unusually strong. The Jedi Temple had originally been built to protect this nexus and to cleanse the evil that had taken root at its heart. In the caves beneath the sacred spire, far below any of the other chapels, there lurked the Jedi Temple's darkest secret. In days long past, the Sith had built a shrine at the heart of the spire's Force nexus, which they sought to transform into a well of the dark side. The Jedi destroyed this shrine, of course, and they originally built the Jedi Temple over it to cleanse the spire. But the taint of the dark side remained, deep beneath the temple, and as the power of the Sith grew once more, it became stronger as well. We know very little about this shrine, though, fun fact, it was originally going to be featured in an arc of Star Wars The Clone Wars' planned 8th season. Our guess is that it was built when the Sith Empire attacked Coruscant during the Great Hyperspace War, as we doubt the Sith would have gotten to Coruscant itself before then. If so, the shrine was short-lived, as the Jedi drove the Sith from Coruscant at the climax of that war. What we know for certain is that, after the end of the Great Hyperspace War, the Jedi cleansed the sacred spire of the dark side, or so they thought. Thereafter, 4 Jedi Masters established the original Jedi Temple around the sacred spire, and they and their descendants spent the next millennium expanding it. The Jedi Temple was greatly expanded following the destruction of Ossus in the Great Sith War, but it shrunk significantly after the Sith attacked it during the sacking of Coruscant at the end of the Great Galactic War. It took nearly a millennium to return the temple to its former glory, following which it continued to expand. The temple as we know it was finished sometime during the new Sith Wars, and during the Republic Golden Age that followed, it served as a universally recognizable symbol of the Jedi Order. But through all of this history, small remnants of the original Sith shrine remained. As we mentioned earlier, Star Wars The Clone Wars was going to go into this in detail, but that particular arc was never finished or adapted into a canon form. As a result, the following information is technically non-canon, but seeing as it was all George Lucas's idea, we figure that there's at least some truth in it anyway. This cancelled Clone Wars arc would have been about Ahsoka starting to mend relations with the Jedi Order after she discovered the Sith Shrine during a misadventure on Coruscant. Her investigations of this shrine would have revealed a terrible secret. For centuries, the Sith had been manipulating the dark taint that still haunted the shrine, using it to cloud the vision of the Jedi. All this time, the Jedi Council had been sitting right on top of Darth Sidious's greatest weapon, and had been virtually clueless about it. You could even say they were in the dark about the whole affair. Anyway, cooler Ben and story concepts aside, It's rather fitting that the Jedi Temple was hiding an ancient Sith site the whole time. After the Sith Wars, the Jedi Order rebuilt itself much like it had rebuilt its temple, like a fortress able to repulse any external attack. But this was ultimately a fruitless effort. Like with the Jedi Temple, the Order was destroyed not from without, but from within. Like shadowy whispers welling up from the heart of the sacred spire, the dark side spread within the Jedi Order and ultimately destroyed it. The Jedi Temple fell in Operation Nightfall just after the execution of Order 66. While the temple had long ago been fortified and deemed impregnable, none of its defenses were any use against the threat it faced that night. Darth Vader killed Gatemaster Jurok before he could seal up the temple, allowing the 501st Legion to walk right through the front doors. Once inside, they slaughtered the Jedi within and set fire to parts of the temple, claiming it for the new Galactic Empire. In canon, the Jedi Temple was ultimately transformed into the Imperial Palace. In Legends, it was left in ruins, a symbol of what happened to those who opposed the Emperor. So that's our look at the dark secrets that lay beneath the Jedi Temple. But what do you think? Are there other prominent locations you'd like us to take a look at next? Let us know all that and more in the comment section below. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.